Okay.
So you grew up in San Diego, which is kind of known as a party city.
Yeah, PB, Pacific Beach, definitely. I went to UCSD. Honestly, like I was the perfect child. I always had this motivation to do well.
Okay.
But from a very young age, there were all these manifestations of self, like untreated alcoholism. But because I hadn't touched the drugs or the alcohol yet, we didn't really understand what it was, you know, like self-harm, eating disorder, depression, anxiety, like all those things.
So it started showing in different areas.
Yes.
So kind of little yellow flags, and it sounds like the family was pretty supportive of going like, what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. But the main focus wasn't me when I was younger. It was definitely my sister, because she had all these like mental and physical ailments, like Crohn's disease, and like on the spectrum, just weird stuff. But so then I graduated high school, and then that's when I really started getting into drugs. At first it was just weed, but then it was Xanax, and things were still pretty manageable.
Right.
And then when I found Oxy, like things got really unmanageable really fast. And
okay.
I was at UCSD for bioengineering, full ride scholarship, and things just started getting really bad. Like I was so miserable. The depression was worse than it's ever been. But in no mind did I make the connection it's because of the drugs. Like, right. I had no idea, you know? Did not think I was a drug addict. The word never came to mind. We were just partying, you know?
Yeah, the rationalizations that surface and literally soften the pain and discount. It's like, oh no.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was throughout college, full scholarship. Did you make it through college, or did things start coming up?
I did.
Okay.
So I made it through college, but what happened was around my second year, I went to my mom because my parents knew that something was going on. So I was dropping weight, I looked ill. So I went to her, I'm like, Mom, can I stop smoking weed? Like, can I stay at your house so I can stop smoking weed? Because she didn't really know anything else. And I was like, weed is natural. So she won't mind. So I did. But then the next day, I'm kicking hard. And like, she's like, what the hell is going on? And so I told her, and
so you came clean on everything to your mom. That must have been really scary.
Yeah, yes it was. I don't really remember what I said. I was detoxing, like I was delusional, you know? Even though we're delusional in regular life as well.
We get to choose the delusion once we get healthy.
Yeah.
But so the amount of pain you were in, it got so bad that you thought, I would rather just come clean, have the family know for the hope of help than to stay in the hell.
Yeah, I wanted to die. Like, it was this jumping off place where I could not see my life with drugs, and I couldn't see my life without them. But the sick thing is that I was at the jumping off place multiple times because I kept going back and back. That was just my first stint in rehab. I went to rehab 2 more times before I actually graduated college.
That's typically the pattern that we see. So you graduated college, and then it sounds like for the second or third time is when you finally kind of jumped in and said, okay, this is it.
Yeah, I mean, I graduated school, and I happened to be in this brief window of sobriety. It was like a 2-month period, and I remember everyone was so happy for me, and I just remember telling my dad, like, I don't want to be here, you know? That's normally my pattern. Is when I get sober, I get very miserable, because my solution to my head is drugs and alcohol. So when I get sober and I don't have any type of solution, I get crazier, frankly.
Well, and here's where a lot of people miss that is, the drugs is a solution, and it is a brilliant, fast-acting solution. The side effect is all these horrendous consequences.
Yes.
And so yes, when we don't get down and deal with the actual internal core issues, our solution is gone, and we're left to fend for ourselves with this gaping open wound.
Yeah, exactly. And so I mean, I had an amazing life. I just graduated. I had a job at a private lab working on genetically modified foods. But I could not stop getting high. So then this last time, my parents, I remember I was in an IOP, and it was a great IOP. Every time I left, my mind was blown. Like, I was like, I know so much about myself. And on the last day of that IOP, I showed up high. I'm like, no one knows. No one knows I'm high right now. But anyway, they coined me out. I graduated there, and then like things just got worse and worse. And then I think I drove to that IOP blacked out, and then the therapist called my mom to pick me up, and then they sent me to rehab again. But like I've already said, when I get sober, I get crazy. I get crazier. I have a rage and like self-hatred like you can't believe.
Yeah, all the emotions start to come up now that we're not anesthetized.
Yeah. So on day 36, they actually sent me to a psych ward.
Okay.
So this last time I did not graduate treatment or anything like that. They sent me to a psych ward. But the difference for me this time, I mean, there was a lot different. I heard a message of depth and weight from people who would come back to the treatment center and read the book with me every day. And at first I wanted nothing to do with it because I had tried AA. I had just gone to meetings and I thought I had done AA. I was like, this doesn't work for me. But they carried me a message, like I could see myself in those pages, and never before had I really opened the book. And so I got a sponsor. She didn't look like she wanted to die, so I started following her direction. You know, and at first it was really simple, like read chapters 1 through 3, say thy will be done, you know, try and be helpful. Basically stop thinking about myself, you know, because that's what's killing me. That's what's killing me. And then, so I went to the psych ward and then I got out. And like I was launched on a vigorous course of action, you know, like getting down to detox every day to be helpful, reading the big book, going to a meeting a day, checking in with my sponsor, and working the steps.
Yeah, once we do the accountability and those tactics, it's interesting because I've heard so many people say that about the program, is they look at it like a diet. Oh, I tried that diet once, it doesn't work. It's like, well, if you view it as a diet, it's never gonna work. But if we look at how do I change my lifestyle in order to eat healthy, then all of a sudden it's like now we get the organic byproduct is, wow, now I'm feeling better, more energy, and oh, I'm not using drugs anymore.
Yeah, and like for me, I think it's really incredible because the relief didn't come right away. You know, it was around 4 months that things really started to, like I woke up and I'm like, I want to be alive today. It was really fascinating. And then I realized that that depression and that anxiety and all those like various manifestations of self, they were just untreated alcoholism. And like I had been on very strong antipsychotics like my whole life and like nothing now, you know, like it's really incredible. I never thought AA would give that to me, you know? I thought it was just the obsession being removed, those internal promises like our fear, anxiety, you know, we'll find a peace of mind, but it's much more than that.
So you said something that's scary for a lot of people. You said for 4 months, it was this process.
Yeah.
How did you have that daily will and discipline to keep going all those months? Because that's where most people give up. They're like, okay, I planted the seed, the tree should grow overnight. It's like, no, there's lag time. You got to nurture it, and you got to keep watering it. How were you able to do that during that time? Because most people, that's where they give up.
Exactly. Well, I mean, for me, it was kind of twofold. The first is that I was so desperate this time, so desperate, and it finally beat me into this state of reasonableness and like willingness to actually follow some direction. And the second is that I could see it working in those around me. Like I could see it working in another woman, and at first I didn't have faith in like a higher power or anything like that, but I had faith in the direction because I could see it working.
So you saw social proof. You saw people actually go through it and had enough trust of saying, okay, there's enough people that are going through this and are getting the outcome. Just stay the course.
Yeah, and now when my sponsees like tell me like, when is the relief gonna come? Like there's a paragraph in the big book and it says like, we are miracles of mental health. But the depression and the twisty thinking, it doesn't vanish overnight. You know, like we've done a lot of damage to our body and to our minds. But as long as you keep following the direction, the relief will come. Yeah,
that's another great thing that you hit on. Is so many people think, okay, so for 10, 20, 30, some people 40 years, I've been living a certain way, and have an expectation in days or weeks, or even maybe a month or two, I'm gonna overcome 10, 20, 30 years of a certain lifestyle. And it's kind of like, it takes time, but it's that patience.
It does.
So I'm curious, what led you to coming to us and what was different?
For Pacific Shores, I mean, the community is really great there. Skylar, the house manager, I mean, she's fantastic. She's so, you can talk to her about anything, you know? And the sober living that I was at before, there were drugs there, and like, it wasn't harming me in any way, but it just wasn't a nice place to be, you know? Especially when the IOP, it was connected to an IOP, and the IOP would sign off that like, oh, she can smoke weed or be on Suboxone maintenance, you know? But, so the sober living would have to allow it.
That'd be really difficult. Yeah, environment and all the studies, environment is so imperative to success and health. And from an environment that's struggling, it's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
So what is life like now? Because you've been with us, like you said, for almost a year.
Yeah.
Give or take, and you just took a year sober.
I did.
Congratulations!
Thank
That
you.
In and of itself is a miracle.
Yes.
So what is life like now? I heard you say you're actually sponsoring.
Yeah,
people.
yeah. I've been sponsoring women for around 4 months now.
What's that process like for you?
It's great. It's great because I know how I look at my sponsor, and it's wonderful. Like she saved my life. And when I got my year, my mom actually came down to the meeting to watch me take my chip, and they met, and it was magical.
Tears were shared.
Yeah, it was really incredible.
So how's the family dynamic now?
Oh, it's better than ever. It's better than ever. I mean, I don't think the boyfriend, the parents, the sister, I think this time they were really like, I don't think you're gonna get sober. You know, like there were no ultimatums.
So they had lost hope.
They had lost hope. Yeah, it was just like, you know, there she goes again. But you know, I think the process of making financial amends has really created that trust there again, because it's like, okay, I'm gonna send you this amount of money every Friday. It's not even about the money, it's more about the trust. Like,
yeah.
I can trust her because she's, you know, doing this repetitively or dependently.
Consistency is key.
Exactly.
Here's the commitment I'm making, and then we see it consistently, and it's the whole thought process of, wait, before the thought process, when we're in the addiction, the thought process is, what can I take? Mm-hmm. When we have made it through and done the work, the process changes to, what can I give?
Yeah, what can I contribute to
And
life?
literally everyone sees that, and it is so cool.
Yeah.
Well, that is awesome. Congratulations again, and thank you so much for being willing to share your story with anyone out there. Here's one question I love asking people is, so you're a year sober now, looking back over what happened, what would you go back and tell yourself? What's a piece of advice that you could tell yourself?
Just follow your sponsor's direction. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's so simple yet so difficult to do.
Yeah, because I love to run on self-will, but it's just like if I just followed her direction in the first place, I wouldn't be hurting, you know?
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.